Save on summer favorites at Rayleigh's Bel Air and Nob Hill. You'll always find weekly sales on the fresh peak season fruits and veggies in our produce department. Discover a wide variety of fantastic flavors to go from our deli. Indulge with your favorite sweet treats from our bakery. And slice into savings on exceptional meats and seafood in our meat department. Are you a Something Extra member? Sign up to save more with member prices, free delivery, personalized offers, and more. Savings made simple. Only at Rayleigh's Bel Air and Nob Hill.
There she goes, first solo drive.
Are we ready for this?
Absolutely.
Our AAA agent, what are you doing here?
Well, same as always, helping you protect what matters most. Like when you added her to your auto policy, or when you switched to AAA insurance and saved.
So you've been here the whole time?
Yep, plus we're available 24/7 for claim support, in case you ever need it.
Shouldn't she be home already?
It's been 12 seconds.
Visit AAA.com/insurance to get a quote today.
Have me doing air drums over here, Rube. I like that. It's very nice. McCarty in the morning, and this week we're having different folks in. I want to hear different voices, people from around the community that matter, that work hard, that are trying to make sure we have a good community to live in for us and for our children and grandchildren. Today, our guest is Matt Kay. I'm going to let you tell folks who Matt Kay is.
Yeah, well, first off, I actually didn't realize I was coming on this radio show this morning. I thought I was meeting up with Chica and eating some of the donuts and chicken that she was eating the other day.
Yeah, that's bad stuff.
But anyway, Matt Kay, I am a lifelong Shreveport resident. I've lived here since I was born in Willis Knighton South. Actually, funny story, growing up, we'd go cut grass to make a little bit extra money. And
Sure.
My dad had this old 1995 Chevy S10. And in between cutting grass, we'd listen to 710 KEEL. We'd listen to Sean Hannity and Rush Limbaugh in the day. So I grew up listening to 710 KEEL. Right now, I'm the chairman of the Republican Party in Caddo Parish. And on the side, I guess you could say, I run political campaigns here locally.
Okay.
So that's primarily what I spend most of my time doing on a day in and day out basis is, something in the political world.
Okay.
So,
digging up dirt on candidates. This is a busy season for you.
it's a very busy season for me. I don't know that I've had a busy year, as busy of a year as I've had in 2026. And, to lump all of that in, I actually got married on June 6th as well. So that part has been very rewarding. So could not be happier.
Newlywed?
Yes.
Oh, how's that going?
It's going amazing. She is she's one of the nicest, kindest human beings that you meet, which whenever you work in politics, you need kind, nice people around you. So,
Sure.
Yeah.
I will share a Matt Kay story, and your wife's name is
Haley.
Haley.
Yes.
I almost said Kaylee, but it's Haley. And I'm recuperating back in October. As y'all know, I had kind of a couple of bouts and after my hysterectomy. I don't know if you made it or Haley made it. I'm not sure.
Team effort.
Okay, we'll call it a team effort. Y'all made gumbo and brought it over where I was staying.
Yes.
I'm waiting for round 2. That was good gumbo.
We made the roux from scratch. We sauteed the sausage. Everything, a lot of it was store bought, but most of it was store made. There was not a package in that roux.
Oh man,
it's one of the things we love to do is cook.
That was really, really good. And are you married to Shreveport, Bossier, or you're going to stay here? This is where you want to raise children. This is where you want to grow old.
I chose to go to college at LSUS because I knew everybody here. I've lived here for 34 years. There is no plan on the horizon for me to leave. I'm committed to the area.
Okay. So. And what's the day in the life of a guy who runs political campaigns? What's your life like?
So looking at this cell phone every day seems to be what I'm attached to, but getting random phone calls and being able to, at the spur of a moment, answer to this piece of drama today, or, make this Facebook post, or, get this strategy going on how to get direct mail out there, or, just being able to answer questions and pick up from client to client and be able to talk about their race, after I've been talking the last hour about somebody else's race.
Right.
It's very rewarding, and you have to stay sharp doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So
let me ask you something, because I find this A, hugely annoying, and B, I don't think I can do anything about it. Political text messages, That's never going to stop, is it?
Unfortunately, it's never going to stop. But if you notice on your phone, you have spam filters on your text messaging now. So it has gotten very less. It's gotten much less effective than it was, in my opinion. But no, in the U.S. Senate race that we saw earlier this year, I was getting 3 or 4 text messages a day. I think people are worn out with texting, and previously people would get angry whenever they got text messages, and now they just filter them out and just ignore them. So it's just kind of become white noise.
Okay, we're going to get you to show me that spam filter because I think if I reply stop to it, I think that puts it in a category, oh, this is a real phone number. Let's keep sending them stuff.
If you reply stop to it, it opts it out of that group's list, but it doesn't opt it out of everybody's list, so you'll still get them. Okay.
And the direct mail stuff that they send, are those still effective? Because I just hit the garbage can with them.
So I tell every client that you basically have from the mailbox to the garbage can to get your message across. So, but direct mail is actually, and I know I'm on the radio, I shouldn't probably say this. Direct mail is still one of the most effective ways of advertising.
Is it really?
Yes.
Is it really? Because they have a moment where they have it in their hand.
Everybody still checks their mailbox every single day, like clockwork. That's where you get your bad news. That's where you get your money, is in your mailbox. So you'll at least get seen. Your logo will get seen.
Okay.
So, yeah.
When we come back, I want to do a little bit of a rundown with you. Now, you're going to be biased. We're going to make that real clear. He's chairman of the Republican Party here in town. And I want to talk about the mayor's race. And I want to see kind of your thoughts on who's in it, who's going to make a difference, who's kind of wasting their time. We'll talk with Matt Kay about that when we come back right here on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Save on summer favorites at Rayleigh's Bel Air and Nob Hill. Enjoy weekly sales on fresh peak season produce and exceptional meats and seafood. And discover a wide variety of fantastic flavors to go from our deli and bakery. Savings made simple. Only at Rayleigh's Bel Air and Nob Hill.
Now, more breaking news and trending talk with McCarty in the morning on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Very nice, Ruben. Ruben's been working hard. When we make a change, Mike Martindale is no longer with the show. And I promise I'll never say Mike Martindale is no longer with us again.
Yes, please.
That sounded terrible.
That was really bad.
That was really bad.
That was really bad.
He's still alive and kicking and doing fine, and we're buddies, and no ill will. There was no falling out. It was a decision made way above our heads. So, but the first day I come on the radio and I say Mike Martindale is no longer with us.
Ugh.
Ruben wanted to kick me. If he could have reached me under the table, he would have kicked me. Mike's fine.
Yes.
Mike's fine.
Yeah.
He's just no longer on the show. What we're doing is we're going to have different voices from our community come in who have different opinions. They have different outlooks on life. Today, our guest is Matt Kay. He's chair of the local Republican Party. And Matt, appreciate you coming in.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Are you an early riser normally or no?
Very much so not an early riser.
You're normally up till midnight, 1 a.m., right?
On the early end, yes.
Let's talk politics a minute, because that's what you do for a living. You run political campaigns. You're chair of the Republican Party. The mayor's race. There have been a lot of people saying that this is a 4-horse race. You agree kind of with that?
I wouldn't even know who the fifth candidate's name is at this point.
Really?
So, yeah, I've seen the names on the ballot, but I only know 4 candidates' names.
Okay.
This point, so.
Let's start with the Democratic side. We have Caddo Parish Commissioner Stormy Gage Watts.
Yes.
We have State Representative Tammy Phelps. Who do you put in the lead between the two of them?
If you would have asked me last week, I would have said that Tammy Phelps was in the lead on that side until the Henry Whitehorn endorsement came out for Stormy. I would think that gives Stormy a slight lead. I don't know. I go back and forth on that one. Tammy has a legislative record. Obviously, Stormy comes from the Caddo Commission. Driving around, they're about equal in signs. I haven't really gotten a lot of their messaging. I actually think that if right now Stormy is ahead on that one, but Tammy's a strong campaigner. I would never count her out. But I would think that right now out of those two, Stormy would probably be ahead.
Now, campaigning, messaging from candidates, the Democratic candidates are never going to message you. They're not going to pay for that click, correct?
More than likely, they wouldn't pay for that click. But, even if you get out your message in the news media or on your Facebook page or what have you, usually you would get something But it's actually seemed like a relatively quiet mayor's race outside of a few exceptions on social media. I don't feel like I've been inundated with information from these candidates.
Right.
So.
Now, on the Republican side, this is the one that you're heavily involved in. You're not running in any of these campaigns, correct?
That's correct.
But the Republican Party has endorsed Tom Arsenault.
That is also correct, yes.
John Paul Young is making a lot of headway, it seems, on social media. Will that matter?
I've never seen social media win a political campaign. I've seen it be a huge component of a political campaign, but I mean, if you look at what John Paul is doing, John Paul is running a strong campaign on Facebook. I mean, every time I turn around, I have somebody who I didn't even realize was interested in politics asking me, "Who's this John Paul Young guy? What's he talking about on Facebook?" He's saying the right things on Facebook. I believe that he's making headways. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's talk about that. Where is he making inroads with regard to, if I'm an Arsenault voter, he's making inroads and he's stealing some of those votes? What are the issues that he's getting at him on?
So look, Shreveport's had 2 one-term mayors in a row. We have issues that none of us can hide from inside of the city limits of Shreveport. We have a crime problem that's getting better. We have a water problem that's, getting a little bit better, but we have issues, and John Paul is confronting those issues head on and talking about what he would do. The only question that I would have is obviously we have about a budget of about $480 million, and we have about 180,000 people in our population. Our tax base was probably built to have closer to 220,000 people. We have a city that goes all the way from Berkshire's on north of I-220 all the way down south, almost to DeSoto Parish, over to Pines Road, and then over to the Red River. We have a sprawling infrastructure. I don't know where all the money comes from to fix all these things. If Mayor Arsenault and the city council currently had an unlimited budget, I don't think you'd have a road problem, a water problem, or an inability to pay officers more money. You wouldn't have a shortage of CDL drivers for trash trucks. You would. Right. If we could wave our magic wand like the federal government and print money, we wouldn't have these problems.
Right, we could fix them all.
Yes.
Do you see a runoff in this race, as most people have said?
I can't imagine a world where a Shreveport mayor's race does not go to a runoff. Okay. Is that Mayor Arsenault going into a runoff in the 40s? Is that Mayor Arsenault going to the runoff in the 30s? That's yet to be seen. But it's not a weakness to go into a runoff. It is where your final number is kind of shows strength. If you go into a runoff way ahead in first place, you're probably going to win the runoff. If you're going into the runoff in second place, way behind the first place person, you're probably not going to do very well.
Okay.
If it's a close race, anything can happen.
Someone told me the other day, another political brain said, it's interesting in that usually the folks that challenge a mayoral candidate, a sitting mayor, often it's a city council member, and we don't have that this time. We have a Caddo commissioner doing it and a state representative doing it. Is that a signal that the council members think he's doing an okay job and they're okay with him for another 4 years?
If I'm a city council member, do I want to run against my sitting mayor, or do I want to wait 4 years until he's termed out and have an open shot at it? Most of your city council members that are currently on the city council, with the exception of maybe James Green and Grayson Butcher, are they have another 4 years that they can run an open race. And by the way, they'll have a free shot at it because they'll most likely be termed out 4 years from now. So right. Do I take a shot at it now, or do I take a free shot at it 4 years from now? Whenever I've had 8 years on the council,
gotcha.
I would wait until I was termed out, and Mayor Tom Arsenault would be termed out at that point too.
Okay, with these 4 horses, we're not even counting Michael Williams. There's some other lesser candidates. Of the 4 big candidates, who do you anticipate will make the runoff?
So, we get back to, the sheriff endorsing Stormy Gage Watts. People respect the sheriff. I think that right now, if there was a runoff in the Shreveport mayor's race, I think that you bet on the incumbent, Tom Arsenault, being in the runoff, and I think you'd have to bet on Stormy Gage Watts being in that runoff with him.
Wow, interesting stuff. We're going to talk garbage pay. I'm hoping we can catch up with the mayor if we can. He's proposed an increase of $2 an hour for the garbage workers. City council members want it to be more. How's that decision going to be made? What's the decision like? And when will those workers see the raise? We will talk more about that when we come back right here. 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
There she goes, first solo drive.
Are we ready for this?
Absolutely.
Our AAA agent, what are you doing here?
Well, same as always, helping you protect what matters most. Like when you added her to your auto policy, or when you switched to AAA insurance and saved.
So you've been here the whole time?
Yep, plus we're available 24/7 for claim support, in case you ever need it.
Shouldn't she be home already?
It's been 12 seconds.
Visit AAA.com/insurance to get a quote today.
Now, more breaking news and trending talk with McCarty in the morning on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
That's going to forever sound weird to me, but that's all right. That's okay. My friend Matt Kay is in studio with me this morning. We're going to be joined by Mayor Tom Arsenault coming up in just a couple of minutes to talk garbage pay for the workers and the garbage fee for our community, because we're among the lowest in the nation. Matt, one question before we get to the mayor. Saints and the Cowboys play this weekend in a preseason game. Who you for? You for the Saints or you for the Cowboys?
I won't yell too early this morning, but how about them Cowboys?
Oh, God. He's got to go, too. We got to kick him out, too.
Yeah,
He's
sorry.
gone. He's done.
Proud
he
of
even
it.
brought a Cowboys. You're a season
Cowboys
ticket holder?
Season ticket holder. I got 4 tickets to them.
Oh, man. Okay. I'm a Saint. I like the Cowboys, but when the Saints are playing the Cowboys, I'm all about the Saints.
Yeah, there are actually some interesting things to watch in this game, though. You've got 2 quarterback battles for both teams. You've got, on the Cowboys side, the backup quarterback battle between Sam Howell and Joe Milton. And on the Saints side, you've got Spencer Rattler versus Zach Wilson for the backup quarterback battle. So people will be watching that. It's it's really fun. People putting their whole NFL careers on the line in the preseason, playing for everything. They're pretty gritty games.
They'll get a lot of playing time.
For
Definitely.
sure.
Absolutely. Mayor Tom Arsenault is joining us next right here on KEEL.
Now, more breaking news and trending talk with McCarty in the morning on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
On the Jack Spring Electric Newsmaker Hotline, we've got Shreveport Mayor Tom Arsenault joining us. Good morning, Mayor.
Good morning.
We have Matt Kay in studio with us, so he might be helping out with the questions this morning. He's our guest host. Welcome him to the show. I know you guys know each other very well.
We do know each other very well. Good morning, Matt.
Good morning, Mayor.
You proposed during the work session on Monday a $2 an hour increase for sanitation drivers, which would bring the pay up to, I believe, $21.78 an hour, if I remember correctly. That you guys
actually, I didn't propose it. It's done.
You've already done it, so it's going into effect September 1.
That's not that. No, August 31st. Their weekly pay.
Okay.
They're weekly pay people, so it goes into effect Monday.
So they'll be getting that extra check on Monday. That extra money in their check Monday.
Well, they'll be getting their in their next paycheck after Monday.
Okay, gotcha. Will this trickle down to other sanitation workers too? Will you be bumping the pay up for other workers?
That is not the plan, and that's the issue with going above the 2178. Is it begins to have ramifications throughout the city. We have 2,500 employees, and so we have to be mindful when we're making a change like this, not to upset the apple cart and completely upset the pay system.
So when I hear Councilman James Green and Council Chair Tabitha Taylor and others say they want to bump that pay up to $25 an hour, explain the problems that causes.
Well, it causes a ripple across the entirety because other folks don't make that kind of money, and they begin to be dissatisfied and look for other ways to make a living as well. So it is just, it's never as simple as it sounds. And so when you get into those pay ranges, it really does create issues with our whole pay scale.
Mr. Mayor, one of the things that I'm seeing is that we have a nationwide shortage of CDL drivers. Even the school board has a lack of school bus drivers for this reason. Can you kind of explain to some of those listening that may not know kind of what's going on here, why we have this shortage?
Well, there's just a tremendous increase in truck traffic and demand for CDL drivers, and of course that is a supply and demand issue, and it causes difficulty in raising that. The thing that some people don't recognize with the city is that we actually have a tremendous benefits package, and a lot of times people just look at that salary and then they'll make a switch and well, wait a minute, where's my health insurance, and where's my employer contribution to my health insurance, and where's my retirement? Those are the kinds of things that we are able to offer our employees. It's a very good package, and we hope people will consider that. But right now there is as you say, Matt, is a national shortage of CDL drivers, and everybody who uses CDL drivers is feeling the same kind of pinch.
Yes, sir. And I was reading last night, I saw that maybe it was you and CEO Tom Dark are, I think y'all are looking at a plan to maybe pay or help have trash pickup workers, go through the process of getting their CDL to help out there. Is that something y'all are looking into as well?
Yeah, we do have a program. We do have a program where we can begin training those folks, and we're also going to be reaching out there. A couple of local companies that provide CDL training. The thing that we have to remember is it isn't just a CDL license. Our insurance requirement means that to drive those garbage trucks, they also have to have a year's experience.
Okay.
And so one of the ways that we can try and do that is we get somebody who's on the back of the truck who gets a CDL. We can use the Wednesdays and Saturdays for them to practice. They can't drive the truck on the road, but they can practice and qualify for that year. That, by the way, we've convinced our insurance company to go down from 2 years to 1 year to help us with this issue.
Mayor, I did a report. I just published it this morning at KEELnews.com, gathering stats from the U.S. Department of Labor, from Career.com, Indeed.com, on sanitation worker pay around the state. And you probably would want to know that Lake Charles has the highest paid drivers, and they're paid $20 an hour. Shreveport's pretty close in there. It says $18.45 an hour. You're going to now be already under your proposal. You're bumping them up to the highest paid sanitation drivers in the state. The statewide high for any community, for any sanitation worker, is listed at $24.98. So we would be going above anybody in the state. Do you think can pay be too high for some categories that could cause the city some harm?
Well, that's obviously that's a matter of perspective, but the thing we have to remember is that we're on a fixed income in the city of Shreveport, and so they always joke about Tom Dark printing money, but we really don't have a printing press in the CAO's office, and so in order to do those things and balance it, sometimes what looks like a real simple thing, well, it's 20 workers that is $2 an hour, so it's not that big a deal, except that has ramifications, and we have 2,500 employees. So when you start multiplying some of those changes by 2,500, the numbers get pretty large.
I know you don't want to answer this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. If the council passes a pay increase to bump sanitation worker pay to $25 an hour, A, do they have the authority to do that? And B, if they do, would you veto it?
I don't think they have the authority to do it. They have budget authority, but the pay scale is something we handle administratively. It has, obviously, when we raise pay, it has budgetary impact. The impact of this $2 an hour is within existing budgets, and it is a relatively small thing. I don't ever make projections about vetoes. I wait until I see what's passed and how it impacts the budget, and then I'll make a decision.
Okay.
Mayor, I see that we have a $7 fee on the water bill for garbage collection and such. Is that anything that's going to be looked at anytime soon, or how does this shortage of sanitation workers affect that?
Well, the thing we have to remember is water is the payment of a water bill is a regressive payment. That is that people in lower incomes pay a higher percentage of their income on their water bill than people who are more affluent. We proposed a modest fee, a modest water rate increase a couple of years ago, and had to cut it in half because of the political blowback from the council. And I also will point out that speaking of apartments, I had made a proposal to make a very small contribution for a temporary time on the water bill to demolish some apartment complexes, and that was dead on arrival. So anytime you're going to start raising those fees, it's a very hot political topic. I don't see that happening certainly before my second term and before the and before election of new members to the council. Then we will take a look at it. There's a whole lot of philosophical and other issues that are raised by that, and it's just something we have to look at very carefully. No member of the council has proposed it. They've talked about it, but nobody's ever put it out on the table.
Mayor Tom Arsenault, thanks for your time, sir.
Sure enough.
You bet. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL.
Now, more breaking news and trending talk with McCarty in the morning on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Matt Kay is in studio with me this morning. He is chairman of the Caddo Parish Republican Party. I'm going to ask you a question about something that I struggle with a lot. And I talk to a lot of politicians about things when they get in a tizzy about some big issue, chopping trees down or something silly that, is silly. And they get all wrapped up about it and all focused on it and all consuming of it. And I think, let's go down to Target and let's ask 100 people who are coming out of that store if A, they know anything about the issue, and B, if they care. And you're going to find 100 people don't. We have a real problem with apathy. People don't follow what's going on in government. They don't know who their representatives are. They don't really care about what's going on in government. They're busy living their lives, earning a living, getting their kids to school, picking up groceries. Why are people like that? And the second part to that is, why are they not voting when it's really important?
Yeah. So, one of the things that I find interesting is when we have a presidential election, only 75% of the voters actually vote in a presidential election, and that's the highest turnout that you'll ever see. So off the bat on our biggest election cycle, you have a quarter of the registered voters just not even showing up. And you can't tell me that they don't know when election day is for president or that they haven't heard that we're having a presidential election.
Right.
It consumes the media. But that's the part I want to focus on is, you have so many touch points whenever you're voting for president that maybe you don't have as many, you don't have as much awareness on these other elections. You have, I group voters into, 4 different categories. I vote them actually about 6 different categories, but 4 that matter. You have your people who I call your 4s. They vote like you and I drink coffee in the morning. If there's a tax referendum or anything, you can bet your bottom dollar that they're going to be there. And that's about 14% of your registered voters.
Okay.
Then you have your people that I call your 3s. Anytime somebody's name is on the ballot, it doesn't matter if it's for dog catcher, governor, anything like that. They're voting in every election. They represent probably about another 20% of the electorate. So that's 34% of the electorate that avidly votes when somebody's name's on the ballot. Then you have your people who are 2s that vote in midterms, governor's elections, and larger elections. They might not go vote for a city council race or a special election.
Right.
And then you have your 1s that only show up in presidential elections. And I'm a firm believer in the fact that to get somebody who is a less chronic voter, somebody that shows up in presidential elections or governor's elections, you have to reach those voters somewhere between 18 to 24 times just to get them up off the couch and into a voting booth to go vote. So I don't know if it's as much apathy as it is that, they're living their lives. And, a lot of people want to tune out politics. You have to find a way to reach them and get them motivated and talk about something that they care about to get them up off the couch to go vote. Because if you're talking about cutting down a random tree, they may stay at home.
Right. Now, the 3s and 4s, the demographic of those, it's older, right?
I've started to see some of them move younger. I'm proud of the fact that I'm a 4. I've never missed an election, but
okay.
I'm actually starting to see that number is getting a little bit younger. You have a new generation that is coming up that is more interested in voting and being hyper aware of what's going on. It's a pretty even spread. You do have your older voters that are in your 4s, but it's a pretty even mix.
How do those numbers that you just described, how do they compare when you look at Democrats and Republicans, if you separate them?
I haven't looked at that one in a while.
Okay.
I wouldn't know.
Pretty close, I would assume. I may be wrong. I don't know.
It's probably pretty close. I would think that you probably have about a 10 to 20% advantage on the Republican side. I am biased towards the Republican Party, so
sure.
I would guess that. But it's probably pretty close and kind of bearish.
How do you get a person to a 3 to get passionate about you and about your campaign? What's a secret for those folks?
Again, you have to talk about the things that matter to everyday voters. I mean, if I go talk to you about I don't know, some random project of people like picking up tires and picking up trash, but like if I have a good plan, maybe to lower gas prices, for example, which I don't know that locally we can do anything about that, but that is something that is affecting people on a day in and day out basis. If you've got to touch them where it matters. You've got to reach the voters on something that matters to them. So, right now I've got to think that, your high gas prices, high grocery costs, something that they can touch. I think that's how you motivate them.
Absolutely. Definitely. We're going to talk more with Matt Kay about politics. I still want to hear your take on the data centers and why there are some people in our community who are just adamantly opposed, though you can put the evidence in front of them. I want to hear your take on that when we come back as well, right here on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Back this morning, McCarty in the morning with some guests, which is kind of what we're going to do from here on out. We're going to have different voices from our community joining us, giving us their perspective on things that are happening in our world. Today, our Wednesday co-host is Matt Kay. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Folks that don't know who Matt Kay is, you're a friend of mine. We go back a little bit. Who's Matt Kay? What do you do? Who are you?
So Matt Kay is a local Shreveport guy. I've lived here my whole life. And if there's anything involving politics, I'm probably somewhere close in the area. The chairman of the local Republican Party. We have a great organization there. And I also run political campaigns for a lot of the local Republican candidates.
So you've got your fingers in everything political.
Yes. I also want to start a fantasy football podcast, but I need to probably talk to Tim Fletcher about that one. So.
They have a fantasy football league around here, these guys. They go and have a couple of beers and pick their teams. So they never
fun.
invite me to that because I would kick their butts. But man, I want to ask you, you're a Shreveport guy.
Yes.
You know about kind of the sprawl that Shreveport has been experiencing.
Yes.
People leaving Shreveport, moving to Stonewall, moving to Bossier, to Benton, wherever, Greenwood, Blanchard. The numbers show that Shreveport's lost about 10,000 residents. We're now at 175,000 folks, while Bossier's up at least 1,000. Stonewall's up. What's the secret? What is Bossier doing right, if we could say that Shreveport needs to do more of? If you had to pick a few things, what would you put on your list?
So if you gave me this question about 4 years ago, I would tell you that the best thing that Bossier's doing is that they're next door to Shreveport. Obviously, people moving from Shreveport going to Bossier. But also, if you look at the number, and I haven't looked at it as recently as I had, but, a lot of Bossier's growth and Stonewall's growth is from, people leaving Shreveport. But if you look at the numbers, if 10,000 people leave Shreveport, I would bet that you'd find that you don't have 10,000 people worth of growth elsewhere around here. You have people that just up and leave the area entirely. But, Bossier does several things well. Bossier has a great public school system. Bossier has an A-rated water system, and Bossier doesn't have the crime problems that Shreveport have. So, whenever you look across the river, the grass isn't always green on the other side. But I'm telling you, those guys in Bossier, they are doing a great job. I know most of them, their heart's in it, and they just want to do better for their community. And I'm not saying that people in Shreveport don't, but they've been dealt a pretty good hand over there, and they don't have the sprawling infrastructure that Shreveport has.
Let me ask you a question, because people like myself, a lot of people that are listening may live in Shreveport, but we have the means to move if we choose to. I have the means tomorrow. If I want to pick up and move to Bossier or Stonewall, I could do it. What is the last straw for people when they say, I'm done, I'm out of here, I'm going to go move to Benton or wherever? What seems to be the last straw? Do you have your finger on that pulse?
I would have to say that it's safety in schools. I mean, look, I'll be honest with you. Last year, whenever we had those 80 gunshots within 0.2 of a mile of my house, I'm telling you, I was on Zillow that night before I went to sleep looking at it. Whenever it gets that close to home, people start looking, whether it's moving across city or moving across the river. Whenever you start to feel uncomfortable in your own home, people start looking at moving. Mm-hmm. And, I will say that I have seen progress in Shreveport over the past 4 years. I actually feel like things are, not overnight, but progressively taking steps in the right direction. So I've just got to think that when people get uncomfortable, that's why they moved.
And I would tell you that I would follow up on what you said. If I felt like I wasn't safe in my home and I'm looking at Zillow looking for houses, I can 100% guarantee if I'm going to make the effort to move at my age, I'm considerably older than you. If I'm going to move at my age, I'm not moving to another location in Shreveport. I'm moving to Bossier or Benton or Blanchard or Stonewall. I'm going to say, nah, Shreveport, I've been here long enough. I'm not going to relocate and then have this follow me to my new neighborhood. I'm going to get out of Shreveport. And that's what I worry about, that people that make the decision to move go, I got to get out of Shreveport.
Well, I'm 34 years old, and I tell my wife, "Hey, Haley, love you." I tell my wife all the time that if we move, it's probably my last move. I don't like moving. I've pretty much lived in the same house since 1997. I've moved away for 4 years, and I bought the house for my parents and moved back in. I don't like moving. I don't like going and living in new areas. If I move one more time, I don't want to ever have to move again.
Right.
So, and I'm 34. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, and I'm the same. If I ever move, I hope I don't have to, because I feel pretty comfortable where I am in Shreveport, and I like being so convenient to everything that I love. And so my goal is to stay here. But I do talk to people a lot. I have a bunch of friends in Stonewall who they made the decision to get out of Shreveport based on crime or safety or whatever it was. And they decided they're going to move to Stonewall. I have a lot of friends in Benton, South Bossier, a lot of folks. In fact, if I were to tell you, do I have a friend still left in Shreveport in my friend group? There are a few. Yeah. But the vast majority are living elsewhere. And I would be too if I got to that point. But I'm not to that point now, and I'm hoping that we don't get to that point, that we can turn the tables and things can come up. One thing, I was looking at the data too, which was interesting. The median income in Shreveport is at $48,000. Okay. We have a lot of poverty. Yeah. We have a lot of poverty, where the Bossier median income is $55,000 and the statewide median income is $60,000. So we have a lot more problems than you have in Bossier with regard to, you have more poor people who need assistance, who have help. You have more homeless people that are on the street. So we have a lot of bigger problems to try to solve than a community like a Bossier City or a Benton or Stonewall has. So that's, you got to factor that in too.
For sure.
No doubt about it. When we come back, I want your take on data centers, if we can do that. Okay. That is coming up. And we're going to talk Dolly Parton this morning too, because I was listening this morning to some Dolly Parton greatest duets and some of her duets with Reba McEntire.
I was playing 9 to 5 on the way in.
Were you?
Yeah.
Oh, I heard of 9 to 5 version with her and Kelly Clarkson. That was exceptional. Just what an amazing human being she was. And she'll so be missed. We'll have more on that coming up right here on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Now, more breaking news and trending talk with McCarty in the morning on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Back with my friend Matt Kay. We're going to be joined, by the way, Bossier Mayor Tommy Chandler is going to join us coming up in about 18 minutes from right now. So we're going to talk about things that are going on in Bossier.
Mayor Tommy.
What's successful there? What are some things he's doing that are working? I also want to ask him about the boardwalk. How are things going there? But I want to talk to you, Matt. They had a big open house regarding the Amazon data centers last night. Some folks could show up, and it wasn't a sit down and there's a panel and we're going to answer questions. It was there were booths set up where you could go and see, all the vendors that are going to be involved and how to be hired to do different things. So people were a little disenchanted because it wasn't a Q&A type session, but it was, Amazon Web Services setting up everything that they have. It's kind of just to meet and greet the community and get to know people, I guess. Is that kind of what you hear of it?
It's kind of what I hear about it. It's, just trying to, I guess, get PR out there to let people know that they're doing to maybe dispel any rumors.
The opposition that you're hearing about the data centers, you and I are hearing it from different people. Do you think that they're misinformed, or they're not listening, or do you think that they don't trust Amazon or they don't trust government? What's at the root of the opposition?
I don't know. I've been trying to figure that one out. Like, it's, whenever you talk about data centers, you immediately get hate on Facebook or whatever. And it's something I don't know enough about, but whenever I look at the fact that your city leaders will tell you that the amount of money that could come in from these data centers could really turn communities around, that intrigues me. My government philosophy is less government. So like, I don't really like the thought of trying to use zoning or different things to keep data centers out. If they want to buy private land and invest in our communities, I'm not necessarily opposed to that. But, if there is a legitimate question of will they drain the lakes or will they drain the rivers? I mean, I don't believe that they will. The only state in the union that's having a water shortage is California, and that's because they have weird paper straw policies. I haven't seen those things that people are concerned about elsewhere. I'm paying attention to it. I'm intrigued by it, but to me, it seems like it's something that could bring dollars to our community. So I don't want to immediately turn my nose up and say no either.
But you have heard the criticism.
Yes.
I mean, there are people that do not like Donald Trump. We'll readily admit to that. The president and our governor have pledged that these data centers will create and generate their own power. But there are people that don't trust Donald Trump. They don't trust Jeff Landry. They don't believe that, and they think that this will impact their power rates. How do you convince them? What do you do to convince these folks that, these data centers, they're run differently now. They don't run your electric rates up.
So like him or dislike him, every time I've seen Donald Trump make a promise, it seems like he follows through with it. I saw him in a video say something to the effect of, we're going to have the data centers do their own power generation. And if they do their own power generation and they generate more power than they need, that power goes back to the grid, and it could lower power costs. So, if they follow through with that, it is actually something that A, brings money to the community, and B, lowers power costs. I mean, on paper, it looks like a great idea. And I see that there are clubs that are out there that are against it. And I just can't, I can't talk bad about something that probably helps a community like ours that needs investment in it. I can't talk bad about that because we need for investment to come. We need for money to come into our community. I can't imagine that being a bad thing, but I am looking into the concerns too, to see what everybody's talking about and where the concerns are coming from, and if there's legitimacy to them. And
I have, as you know, I have sons that are about your age. They're 32, 31. And they're not going to come back here. I mean, they have already, they have careers. They're in the military now, but they have a career path once they get out of the military that will keep them in other states, in bigger communities where they have more things to do, more things for them. And when we start talking about bringing in these big operations like data centers, that could hit the generation, your generation, and say, you know what, I can get a six-figure salary working at one of these places, or working for a business that supports them, like the SLB or whoever, that I could actually make a living here, and a good living.
And in our last segment, you talked about how the median income in Shreveport is $48,000. So you talk about six-figure jobs coming to the area. Look, we don't have a GM plan anymore in Shreveport. We don't have an AT&T plan in Shreveport. We're a suffering community that needs opportunities. I can't just have a knee-jerk reaction and say no out of the gate. I mean, I do share some of the concerns. It is something that I want to look into, but we need investments in our community. And Right now, it seems like the investments nationwide are data centers. So, this could be something that really helps our community.
Absolutely. No doubt about it. And, when we talk about the median income, $48,000 income, that's not enough of an income to buy a house. Mm-hmm. You're not planted in the community paying property taxes, et cetera. You're still going to be a renter if you're making $48,000. Yeah. Most likely, especially if you have a family. So that is a concern. We got to work on getting some higher paying jobs here. And this is one of the ways to do that. So
yes.
We'll see. Coming up in about 10 minutes, Bossier Mayor Tommy Chandler going to talk about his community, what's growing there, what's he doing right, what's the status of the boardwalk. People are asking a lot about that. We will ask him those questions as well right here on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
And now, let's get back to the show with McCarty in the Morning on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. And on the KEEL app.
And our guest host today, Matt Kay. Thank you for being in.
Thank you for having me.
Flies by, doesn't it, when you're having fun?
It does.
Dolly Parton, 80. She's died after a brief battle, apparently, with cancer. There were interviews with her last week, right?
Yeah. Within the last couple of days before passing.
That is just so sad. And a lot of connection to our state, of course, Natchitoches and Steel Magnolias, and everybody that dealt with her while making that movie just had great things to say.
I dug up, as you know, I'm a VHS collector. I dug up my Steel Magnolias and 9 to 5 last night. I watched 9 to 5 last night. I'm planning on Steel Magnolias tonight.
Oh, you were listening to it on the way in, too.
I was.
I actually was listening to her duets, and she had one with Reba McEntire, but she also had a duet, believe it or not, of the song 9 to 5 with Kelly Clarkson.
Wow.
It was kind of a remixed version. It was really, really good. She's such a talent. She was such a talent.
Yeah, she was great.
Amazing. Going to be missed. No doubt about it. Bossier Mayor Tommy Chandler going to join us next on the hot seat. No, I promised no hot seat today, okay? I'm going to fire some questions at him. Bossier's growth, what does he attribute it to? What are some things they're doing better than Shreveport's doing? I also want to catch up on the boardwalk. What are the plans there? Have we got any big announcements coming? We will talk with the Mayor Bossier coming up next right here on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
And now let's get back to the show with McCarty in the Morning on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL and on the KEEL app.
Okay, I'm stop dancing again. I stop dancing again. Can I at least bob the head, Ruben? Am I allowed
Fine,
to?
Today,
okay.
All right.
Matt Kay in studio with me, guest hosting this morning, McCarty in the Morning, and we're joined on the Jack Spring Electric Newsmaker hotline by the mayor of the great city of Bossier City, Tommy Chandler. Good morning, Mayor.
Good morning, Erin. Good morning, my dear friend Matt, and my real good friend Ruben.
Yep.
Good morning to all y'all.
Appreciate that. Mayor, I was working on something last week, and maybe it was Thursday, Friday. I was looking at some demographic numbers showing Bossier still growing, still on the grow, population over 65,000 now, maybe 67,000, something like that, while Shreveport is still losing residents down to 175. If you had, and I know you're not a long-term politician, but you've been a long-time businessman in Bossier. What is and talk as a businessman, if you don't mind today. What is Bossier doing that is attracting people there and is attracting business there? What are some of the secrets that you guys have that Shreveport may not have?
Well, to tell you the truth, all my departments are very business friendly. I work with a great group of people. All the employees of the city work for, they're proud to work for Bossier. But even today at 3:00, I'm giving a welcoming speech to Businesses Made Easier workshop that Carlotta Askew Brown is putting on at the Central Library. And that's just going to, that's welcoming people to Bossier, find out how easier it is for them to get permits, how to get into Bossier and get their businesses working. She does that a lot. We do that, if somebody comes to my office and they want to need a permit, I'll take them down there and, get them a permit or something like that. We're very, very business friendly, very proud of our A-grade water, our grade 1 fire department. Our police department is very, very strong. Very proud of all that. That's my main thing is security and safety and cleanliness and everything like that. And all my people that I work with, not for. They don't work for me. We work together. We all dedicated to keeping Bossier better and keep it moving.
Let's talk.
And just like that logo says, a city on the move. That's what we're doing right now.
Let's talk about some of the people that work for you. I know we all miss Amanda, but let's talk about how great it's been to have Shane Cheatham as your CAO.
Oh, man. I mean, Amanda did great. She did great when she was with the city. Shane is, man, it is good to see him every day, and the things that we've got going now and things that are in the future and here in the near future also. He is a hard worker. He knows, I mean, he did work for Jeff Landry for a while, so that kind of helped out in that area. And it is just so good to see him every day and to see the things that he's got going. And he goes the extra mile a lot of times with things that, he don't have to, but he does.
Let's ask you about that. You're looking for a city attorney now. Your city attorney has resigned. What kind of city attorney are you looking for? What qualities do you want in that person?
I want somebody that's really dedicated to the city. I mean, it's a full-time job. And with Bossier getting bigger as it is, yes, I'm going to miss Charles dearly. We're going to need to get someone that is, really dedicated to the city, because if the city's going to grow, we got to keep it going. And the attorney has got to be there to help progress it as it goes, and all the different departments and different features of permits and legal things and just all kind. We put it out yesterday, and we got we'll go through it till we find somebody that.
So you put out an application for folks to apply?
Yes, on our website, and also we put it on social media also too.
Let me ask you this, Mayor Chandler, about you have pretty much a whole new city council, and y'all have been working for a while now. How is that going? It seems to be a big change for the better. Am I wrong?
Bossier's just getting better all the time. The city on the move. It is the relationship that I have with the council is great. Shane has a real good relationship with the council. We all work together. Basically, we talk to majority of the councilmen every day, and meet with him, eat with him. I'm very, very happy now that the council is working together and working with administration.
Shreveport has a huge problem of retaining police officers and recruiting police officers. I don't hear much about that in Bossier. Are you not having the problem, or is it are you having less of an impact with it?
We're having a very less impact. I mean, I'm very, very blessed. If we're down a man or two, that's about all it is. And sometimes that's a jailer. We got people in academy now, and it's just, I just like the people. They like to work for Bossier, and my police chief is he's a great man too, and I think that him being the chief has helped out, the officers to work harder and want to stay with Bossier City, because Daniel Haugen is an outstanding young man, and he's got Bossier going good, and with our fire department too.
Yeah.
That's a grade one, and it's doing well. Good. We got some guys graduating, I think next week or the week after from the academy there, and we got some new guys that are coming back. So that we're going to put into the academy. So we keep on looking for people to come, and they are coming.
Mayor, first off, my wife texted me and said I have to call you Timmy this morning.
Timmy.
Timmy.
Well, you tell Hallie I said hi. Okay?
I've got to ask you. You'll have a good asset over there. What could be a really good asset in the boardwalk? I remember growing up, going to the boardwalk as a kid and just really loving it. What's going on? What's going on with the boardwalk? Are we seeing any movement growth there?
Yes, sir. I know y'all have seen that the Bryan is being moved down there by the Pickler. I think he's having a soft opening next week or so. I got something, on my text message or email the other day that he's having a soft opening. So that'll be a great restaurant down by the Pickler. there's a lot of things moving down that way. Everything doesn't really, you can't snap your finger and it's there, right then. But there's a lot of moving parts going where things are coming down that way. There's some things that I want to say, but I can't really talk about it too much. But there is things coming down there. There's stuff coming to the East Bank, and all the whole riverfront is. We're working to get that boardwalk, the riverfront, and the East Bank. Well, the East Bank has always been, it's been kicking.
Any news on the Bossier Arts Council? Is there any change, any updates on whether or not the Bossier Arts Council will be back? You're handling it in-house now, as I understand it, correct?
Yeah, well, Rich Carroll, he's running that building down there now, and he has done a great. He's cleaned it up. He's done a lot of painting. He's hanging a lot of things up. Rich has done a lot of great things for that building. He's had a few events down there, and he had the 75th anniversary of the city of Bossier becoming a city instead of from the town. So he's got some things moving. Rich Carroll is going to do some great things down in that building and for East Bank and Bossier City.
Wonderful. Mayor Tommy Chandler, Bossier City. Thanks for your time, sir.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right. Thank y'all so much.
You bet. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL.
Oh, more breaking news and trending talk with McCarty in the morning on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Okay, let me share a text that I got from someone who's intimately involved with the data center plans. Said the event last night that they held at the convention center was an open invitation, ask any question forum that allowed citizens to freely walk in and ask subject matter experts about any concern they had. So they had set up like little booths, and you could go from booth to booth and ask people about what they were doing. So that's kind of how they set that up. I think they've been pretty transparent. I may be wrong.
I mean, that sounds like they're trying to be transparent for sure.
People will scream and holler about NDAs. Let me ask you about that, because you represent, Matt Kay is my guest host today, chair of the local Republican Party. You run some political campaigns. Is it a big deal? Because people say, oh, what about all these NDAs we're now signing? We've been signing NDAs for a long time, right?
That's true.
From government officials, politicians. If you're chair of a council and you may have to be in some of the meetings where some things are discussed, you are required to sign that NDA. This is nothing new.
I don't believe it's anything new. The thing is that people want to know, people want transparency. People want to know what's going on. So it's, it's become a topic lately of, just people wanting to know what's going on, and how dare their politicians sign an NDA to figure out what's going on.
Mm-hmm. And that's where people are kind of pulling their hair out. They're like, who signed these NDAs and why? And, why did you have to be in on it? And what did you learn and all that? But the whole process of recruiting business, and you've heard this from many times from Justin Dixon, from Chamber of Commerce folks, from lots of people, is that, you have to recruit these businesses and you have to keep their information private. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, everybody else will one-up you, and Texas will steal them, Arkansas will steal them. They'll make a better deal.
Not only will people steal them, but, like let's say Amazon's coming to Shreveport or whatever, maybe their competitor will come in here and just run Amazon's name through the mud if they find out that it's Amazon that's coming in and try to cause problems for them in the community.
Absolutely. The deal with Elon Musk and SpaceX in Vermilion Parish, $100 billion.
It's exciting.
I have to think that Mike Johnson and Donald Trump's connection to Elon Musk helped make that happen. Otherwise, what is Elon Musk doing in Louisiana?
You have to think that. And also with it being on the coast, I mean, that's investment on our coastline that's been deteriorating for the past however long. I mean, you've got to think that somewhere between having the Speaker of the House and the Majority Leader in the House, as well as their relationship with Trump, somebody along there is who got Elon interested in coming to Louisiana. And I'm thankful for it. $100 billion is a lot of money. I don't know how many zeros that is.
Yeah. And that'll have, we say Vermilion Parish, but that's going to trickle across the state.
And think about all the other businesses that have to come in and support those businesses indirectly. You got people who pour concrete. You got people who run electrical wiring. You have all sorts of different people that feeds outside of that $100 billion investment as well, that, they're going to keep dollars keep circulating around Louisiana once you make that type of investment.
And the thousands of employees at the SpaceX complex
For sure.
they're going to have to build houses for them. You're going to have to do
high-paying jobs.
Absolutely. Big-time high-paying jobs. Coming up after the top of the hour, Fire Chief Clarence Reese Jr. going to join us in studio to talk about the school bus wreck yesterday. That was kind of frightening. He will be here coming up next, right here on KEEL. McCarty in the morning. That sounds so weird. It does sound very weird to me. My friend Matt Kay is in studio. He's guest hosting today. And we got a special guest, Shreveport Fire Chief Clarence Reese Jr. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Saw the tragic story yesterday, a school bus wreck. You never like to hear anything about a school bus wreck, and then you hear it's being treated as a mass casualty event. Holy cannoli. Tell us what happened.
So sure, one of the things we need to clear up first is a mass casualty does not mean there's death. That
right.
Can be, that just talks about the resources that are needed, the equipment that's needed, and as part of the incident command module that the entire United States Fire Service and police departments use. So mass casualty incident just means we had resources, we needed extra resources there, and it just talks about, it could be hurt or injured people is
right.
That casualty part. If you look at the definition of casualty, that part is in there, hurt or injured.
Yeah, it doesn't mean dead people.
It does not
right.
mean dead.
Exactly.
So yes, unfortunately this happened right before 3 o'clock on Interstate I-49 headed southbound before the Kings Highway exit. Mm-hmm. It's always better to have a bus accident or any type of accident on an interstate. It slows down traffic. And then of course, as people start getting off of that bus, you're worried about the traffic. You're worried about the parents pulling up. There were parents pulling up on both sides of the interstate. As a parent, I do understand. You want to see your child. You want to make sure they're okay. But it created a lot more chaos than what was needed.
We need to make it clear this wasn't a Caddo Parish school bus. It was Magnolia Charter School, correct?
Magnolia Charter School of Excellence. It was their that school system, and that is that bus says something totally different on the side.
It's
not
a private bus that's run for that school. Now, walk me through that process of how the chief of the fire department gets notified. Are you listening on the radio? Does someone call? What happens?
So sure. Actually, I was at city council meeting yesterday when that call came across. So we have an app that goes off and it says we have a mass casualty incident. Our dispatchers notify all chiefs at that point. They're to be on scene. So I left the city council meeting. The deputy chief for the police department was right behind me. We both arrived about the same time. And at that point, we were probably every bit of 7 minutes into the incident when we arrived. So parents are already showing up. The media had already gotten a hold to it, put it out as a mass casualty incident. The school, Magnolia, their students out there. So, of course, everybody's passing this bus sees Magnolia Charter School. So I guess the phone call started going out. Parents got notified. I understand there was some confusion on parents being notified after a lot of the students were being transported, but that's a lot to deal with the administration for Magnolia and their system.
Yeah. So everybody's safe, and any big injuries we can tell? Or
So absolutely. Well, there were no big injuries when we arrive on scene, and it depends on what you consider big. If it's your child, of course.
Yeah.
They had a bus accident, thought it was going to go over a rail. It's a major incident. However, we get there and we set up triage transport positions. So we triage every child or every person that's on that bus, and we determine if they're green, yellow, red, or black. Black being death, green being very minor injuries or no injuries. Mm-hmm. The majority of everyone that was on that bus at that point when we got there, we have estimated about 50 plus students, which is a level 2 MCI for us. And that's what got all of those resources there. But when I arrived and when I did my news when I did the release, there were minor injuries to about 9 at that time. I think after I left or after I broke the news, there were 10 that were transported through 9 medic units, and that included Shreveport medic units and Ballantine ambulance also.
I wanted to ask you about that because I saw Ballantine was out there. At what point do we need Ballantine to come in? Do we not have enough medic units? Are some of them down?
So no, we have 11 medic units. However, we have to maintain services throughout the city of Shreveport. So we want to make sure that we use our partners, whether or not that's Bossier City, Ballantyne Ambulance. If we needed to call Bossier Parish, we would have called Bossier Parish. But we also have to remember that we have citizens that are still having emergencies while this one is going on.
Okay. Most of the injuries, they appear to be, minor injuries. When you said it looked like there were about 50 students, there have been some social media posts saying that the bus had too many kids on it and that kind of thing. What happens now? Is there an investigation? Is that a police thing? That's not a fire thing, right?
Correct. It's not a fire thing. That is going to be the police department and the administrators for Magnolia. And however their hierarchy is set up, that is more or less on them.
We've heard that the tire on the bus blew out, and that's what caused the wreck. Is that accurate?
That is not accurate. I crawled under the bus myself. I, in my white shirt, got under the bus and looked at every last one of those tires. There was not a blown tire on that bus. There was a witness that was behind the bus that stated that the bus veered toward the concrete retainer, jerked back into the lane of traffic, and the back of the bus is what hit that retaining wall. But there was not a blowout.
Was the driver going too fast? Did that driver say?
That is a Shreveport Police Department and crash investigation deal in their investigation. Our primary concern, of course, were the occupants on that bus and, of course, trying to calm as many parents down as possible.
Was the driver injured, the bus driver?
The driver was injured, had minor injuries, and was not transported.
Okay. But that person
by ambulance.
That person works for Magnolia Charter School, I guess?
To our knowledge, yes.
Okay. How frightening is it when you get that alert on your phone that there's a mass casualty event? I mean, goodness.
We actually have a lot more than people think about. So 5 patients is a mass casualty incident. So it determines the person that is in command gets to make that decision based off of the injuries and potential injuries. So a car accident, two vehicles with 4 people in each vehicle is technically a mass casualty incident. However, that is very frightening. We have a lot more than people actually realize. There are a lot of bus accidents that people don't realize, whether or not it's a fender bender for a Sportran bus. Somebody could, even clipping a sign, rock hitting a windshield. Somebody's going to call it in and say, I'm injured. And because of the people on the bus, the amount of people on a bus or in any type of transportation, it may be considered a mass casualty incident. But this gives us a lot of great practice for when these incidents happen. Say, for instance, an airplane goes down at the airport. So we do this kind of drill all the time. And today there will be I will be assigning to our deputy chief an after action review to find out what we did well, what we didn't do well, where communication breakdowns took place between all agencies, Shreveport Police Department, the Shreveport Fire Department, Ballantyne Ambulance, and even school administrators. We want to make sure that when this happens again, we're better prepared.
You were on the scene. Did you see anything that we could have done better? I mean, that you noted yourself that you're like, I need to bring this up because we can be better here.
Yes, and that conversation will happen between us and the police department primarily, and at no one's fault. We had parents pulling up on both sides, the northbound side of I-49. We had them on the southbound side of I-49. So as you start getting cars parking on the interstate,
y'all can't get through.
We can't get through, and you're causing traffic delays on both sides of the interstate. We were only on the southbound side. So you have parents crossing over the interstate, walking across 2 lanes at that point of traffic. Just because we don't want more emergencies to happen while we're already dealing with something as catastrophic as 50 plus kids that could possibly be injured.
So they maybe should have moved them on. Said, hey, y'all, you can't leave your cars here.
Absolutely.
We're going to set up a place where they can all meet and gather.
Created a staging area. We understand they're your kids, but at that point, the bus driver and the administrators are still responsible for making sure they get to the correct parent. That's always where anybody could come up and say, I want this child, this is my child, and they may not even have custody. They may not have, but that's the administrator's portion. So we need a staging area for parents when something like that happens, and preferably not on the interstate.
Now, what happened with the children who were not transported? I guess, like you said, some parents picked them up. What happened with did another bus come and get some of them?
Absolutely. Another bus came thanks to Sportran. We called for another bus, Sportran, and we wanted to, get them out of the heat, get them off of that interstate. Keep in mind, all of these children were on that retaining wall, on the outside retaining wall. There's about a 30-foot drop. If any one of them passed out, they could have gone, passed out and gone down that retaining wall. So Sportran, at the same time Sportran arrived with an air-conditioned bus, Magnolia had another bus pull up also. So those kids that didn't have parents that could have gotten them at that point, they were transported back to the school.
Chief Reese, appreciate your time, sir. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Rough afternoon, no doubt. God, Lee, wow. Thank goodness they're all safe.
Yes, absolutely.
You bet. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL.
Now, more breaking news and trending talk with McCarty in the morning on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
All right, Matt Kay, the political guru that you are. I haven't told you about this ahead of time, so I'm going to fire one at you. Darlene Graham wins the Republican nomination in South Carolina. She's going to face the Democratic candidate Annie Andrews in November. That's an easy victory there for the Republicans, right?
No way the Republican loses South Carolina.
I was going to say. Are you at all concerned about the midterm elections and losing control of Congress? How worried are you?
I would always say that I'm worried about losing control of the elections and the midterm elections. For one, Speaker Mike Johnson has done a great job for our area. But, number two, it's not very often that the party that has the presidency keeps the House in midterms. I think that there are positive signs that that Republicans could keep the House, and I don't believe that there's any projections that really have us losing the Senate. But yeah, definitely concerned about it. It's something that's on the radar. That's why it's important to get out there and vote, like we were talking about a few segments ago. Of if you have concerns about this candidate or that candidate, get out there and vote and let your voices be heard in the polls. What
does it do to a President Trump if he loses the House and or the Senate? For his final 2 years, I mean, he's going to have an uphill battle to get anything done, correct?
He's going to have an uphill battle to get anything done legislatively. You'll see him revert back to doing quite a few executive orders. I don't know how far he can go with those, but if you don't have a House and a Senate, there's not as much you can get done. I will say that if we lose the House, the projections show that we would have a great 2028. So, I mean, it's not all bad. It's just, I think that there's about a 50-50 chance that, we retain the House. I haven't seen any polling on it recently, but with all the redistricting and everything that's gone on around the nation, I think that there's a chance.
Some are saying that Texas might even be in trouble.
I don't see it.
Not a chance, right?
I don't see it. I see that race potentially being closer than it could have been. Ken Paxton is not as strong of a candidate as maybe a Ted Cruz is, but I don't see Texas being in play.
Louisiana, not a chance that the Democrat wins here. The polling numbers were kind of scary, though.
We had a contested closed party primary election between John Fleming and Julia Letlow, and Bill Cassidy, for that matter. You'll start to see some of those hurt feelings mend. That's why we have that much distance between that election day and November the 3rd. Julia Letlow wins that race, no questions asked. It might be a little bit closer than usual, about 2 or 3 points max, but that race isn't going to go from the likely Republican to lean Republican at all.
Is she going to have to do much campaigning? Will she have to debate him? She's probably not, right?
As a paid political person, I would always say that you've got to do more political campaigning.
Okay.
But she's got to get out there and make the voters comfortable with her. Everybody's got to get out there and relate to their voters, right?
Mm-hmm. So. But she doesn't have to debate him. She can say no to that, and nobody's going to hold that against her, correct?
I would say so, but if I'm her, I would want to debate him.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, he made a post about being against AR-15s on Facebook, and I believe deleted the post within a few minutes. I mean, there are contrasting issues that they have, and if she can get in there and debate him on the issues, I think that there are chances for her to win back some points that maybe she lost in the closed party primary.
Does she want Cassidy's endorsement? Or does she steer clear of that?
I don't know that she wants too many endorsements in this one. I think she needs to run on her own record. I mean, before this closed party primary, she was actually a pretty popular candidate. I don't know that everybody knew all of her votes and such, but I mean, she has a decently good record. Mm-hmm. Very likable person.
Okay, we will watch and see. Absolutely big, getting into the silly season with the campaigns. Coming up in about 10 minutes, if you missed our interview with Mayor Tom Arsenault regarding pay for garbage workers and garbage drivers, sanitation drivers, interesting points he made with regard to who can authorize pay raises. Is it he? Is it the council? We asked him about that, and you will hear that coming up in about 10 minutes right here on KEEL.
Now, more breaking news and trending talk with McCarty in the morning on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
All right, we're back. Mayor Tom Arsenault coming up in a few minutes. But first, I've got to ask my pal Matt Kay, who's in studio with me today. The Saints play the Cowboys. Is it Friday night? A Friday night game?
Friday night game.
Okay. This will determine your future here. Saints, Cowboys.
Cowboys by a million.
Oh, God. We got to kick him out, Ruben. We got to make him go.
How about them Cowboys?
Oh, you've been a lifelong Cowboy fan, though.
I grew up in the 90s. We won 3 Super Bowls then.
I'm not going to ask you the next question that if Saints fans ask. When's the last time you won one?
Hey, when y'all have that poster from when the Saints won the Super Bowl,
yeah,
the first loss.
Yeah. I know. I know about that. So you won't be at the game Friday, but you normally go.
I normally go. I just don't have time to sneak away to a preseason game.
Yeah. Preseason. Not too excited.
I'll be watching.
It'll be a big deal. A lot of bragging rights for Northwest Louisiana because we have the big feud here. But
and it's our only game against each other this year.
Yes, it absolutely is.
Unless the Saints make the playoffs. We're going to the Super Bowl, clearly.
Oh, you're going to the Super Bowl. Okay. Let's write that down. Matt says
we might have to buy tickets, but we're going.
Mayor Tom Arsenault joining us next to talk about garbage collection. That is coming up right here on KEEL.
Now, more breaking news and trending talk with McCarty in the morning on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
On the Jack Spring Electric Newsmaker Hotline, we've got Shreveport Mayor Tom Arsenault joining us. Good morning, Mayor.
Good morning.
We have Matt Kay in studio with us, so he might be helping out with the questions this morning. He's our guest host. Welcome him to the show. I know you guys know each other very well.
We do know each other very well. Good morning, Matt.
Good morning, Mayor.
You proposed during the work session on Monday a $2 an hour increase for sanitation drivers, which would bring the pay up to, I believe, $21.78 an hour, if I remember correctly. You guys,
actually, I didn't propose it. It's done.
You've already done it, so it's going into effect September 1.
That's not that. No, August 31st. Their weekly pay.
Okay.
They're weekly pay people, so it goes into effect Monday.
So they'll be getting that extra check on Monday. That extra money in their check Monday.
Well, they'll be getting their in their next paycheck after Monday.
Okay, gotcha. Will this trickle down to other sanitation workers too? Will you be bumping the pay up for other workers?
That is not the plan, and that's the issue with going above the 2178. Is it begins to have ramifications throughout the city. We have 2,500 employees, and so we have to be mindful when we're making a change like this, not to upset the apple cart and completely upset the pay system.
So when I hear Councilman James Green and Council Chair Tabitha Taylor and others say they want to bump that pay up to $25 an hour, explain the problems that causes.
Well, it causes a ripple across the entirety because other folks don't make that kind of money, and they begin to be dissatisfied and look for other ways to make a living as well. So it is just. It's never as simple as it sounds, and so when you get into those pay ranges, it really does create issues with our whole pay scale.
Mr. Mayor, one of the things that I'm seeing is that we have a nation of CDL drivers. Even the school board has a lack of school bus drivers for this reason. Can you kind of explain to some of those listening that may not know kind of what's going on here, why we have this shortage?
Well, there's just a tremendous truck in truck traffic and demand for CDL drivers, and of course that is a supply and demand issue, and it causes difficulty in raising that. The thing that some people don't recognize with the city is that we actually have a tremendous benefits package, and a lot of times people just look at that salary and then they'll make a switch and wait a minute, where's my health insurance, and where's my employer contribution to my health insurance, and where's my retirement? Those are the kinds of things that we are able that we are able to offer our employees. It's a very good package, and we hope people will consider that. But right now there is as you say, Matt, is a national shortage of CDL drivers, and everybody who uses CDL drivers is feeling the same kind of pinch.
Yes, sir. And tonight I saw that maybe it was you and CAO Tom Dark are, I think y'all are looking at a plan to maybe pay or help have trash pickup workers, go through the process of getting their CDL to help out there. Is that something y'all are looking into as well?
Yeah, we do have a program where we can begin training those folks, and we're also going to be reaching out. There are a couple of local companies that provide CDL training. The thing that we have to remember is it isn't just a CDL license. This requirement means that to drive those garbage trucks, they also have to have a year's experience.
Okay.
And so one of the ways that we can try and do that is we get somebody who's on the back of the truck who gets a CDL. We can use the Wednesdays and Saturdays for them to practice. They can't drive the truck on the road, but they can practice and qualify for that year. That, by the way, we've convinced our insurance company to go down from 2 years to 1 year to help us with this issue.
Mayor, I did a report. I just published it this morning at KEELnews.com, gathering stats from the U.S. Department of Labor, from Career.com, Indeed.com, on sanitation worker pay around the state. And you probably would want to know that Lake Charles has the highest paid drivers, and they're paid $20 an hour. Shreveport's pretty clear. It says $18.45 an hour. You're going to now be already under your proposal. You're bumping them up to the highest paid sanitation drivers in the state. The statewide high for any community, for any sanitation worker, is listed at $24.98. So we would be going above anybody in the state. Do you think can pay be too high for some categories that could cause the city some harm?
No, that's obviously that's a matter of perspective. But the thing we have to remember is that we're on a fixed income in the city of Shreveport, and so they always joke about Tom Dark printing money, but we really don't have a printing press in the CAO's office, and so in order to do those things and balance it, sometimes what looks like a real simple thing, well, it's 20 workers that is $2 an hour, so it's not that big a deal, except that has ratings, and we have 2,500 employees. So when you start multiplying some of those changes by 2,500, the numbers get pretty large.
I know you don't want to answer this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. If the council passes a pay increase to bump sanitation worker pay to $25 an hour, A, do they have the authority to do that? And B, if they do, would you veto it?
I don't think they have the authority to do it. They have budget authority, but the pay scale is something we handle administratively. It has, obviously, when we raise pay, it has budgetary impact. The impact of this $2 an hour is within existing budgets, and it is a relatively small thing. I don't ever make projections about vetoes. I wait until I see what's passed and how it impacts the budget, and then I'll make a decision.
Okay.
Mayor, I see that we have a $7 fee on the water bill for garbage collection and such. Is that anything that's going to be looked at anytime soon, or how does this shortage of sanitation workers affect that?
Well, the thing we have to remember is water is the payment of a water bill is a regressive payment. That is that people in lower incomes pay a higher percentage of their income on those who are more affluent. We proposed a modest fee. A modest water rate increase a couple of years ago, and had to cut it in half because of the political blowback from the council. And I also will point out that speaking of apartments, I had made a proposal to make a very small contribution for a temporary time on the water bill to demolish some apartment complexes, and that was dead on arrival. So anytime you're going to start raising those fees, it's a very hot political topic. I don't see that happening certainly before my second term and before the and before election of new members to the council. Then we will take a look at it. There's a whole lot of philosophical and other issues that are raised by that, and it's just something we have to look at very carefully. No member of the council has proposed it. They've talked about it, but nobody's ever put it out on the table.
Mayor Tom Arsenault, thanks for your time, sir.
Sure enough.
You bet. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL.
Now, more breaking news and trending talk with McCarty in the morning on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Yes, we're here. Matt Kay in studio with me. He's a political guru, chair of the local Republican Party, correct?
Yes.
Involved in some campaigns. That's what you do for a living.
Too many campaigns.
Your head spins with demographics and polling and all that stuff, doesn't it?
My head is like a bad neighborhood of numbers going around all times.
Let's talk about the mayor's race a minute. Everybody has, and we talked about this earlier this morning, but there's a whole lot of new listeners right now. You would classify the mayor's race as a 4-horse race, correct?
Correct.
Tell us about each candidate, what you think they bring to the table. Let's start on the Democratic side. What does Stormy Gage Watts bring to the table?
So Stormy Gage Watts, she seems to be running a decent campaign, but her getting the endorsement of the sheriff, who is respected in the Democrat community. He's a popular Democrat leader in our parish. Mm-hmm. Came out and endorsed her. I think that gives her a bump in this race. I know Tammy Phelps has, I believe it's Senator Sam Jenkins supporting her. So mm-hmm. I would think right now I'd have to give the slight edge to Stormy Gage Watts on the Democrat side. But I would never discount Tammy Phelps. She is a feisty campaigner.
Mm-hmm. Stormy Gage Watts also got last week, I was told, the endorsement of several local ministers, which probably will help her too. So she may be kind of starting her momentum now, mm-hmm. where everybody said Phelps had the edge as we started this off.
Yes.
So that could be shifting a little.
Yes, it could be shifting a little. Look, people start voting here in a few weeks. Mail-in ballots go out around middle of September. So
wow.
We have multiple mini election days in this race. Mm-hmm. So you got to peak at the right time. Now,
on the Republican side, the strong points for John Paul Young.
John Paul Young is running a good campaign, getting his message out there. He's talking about the issues that people want to hear. Again, my concern would be, where does the money come from to do some of those things? But he's getting his message out there. Probably the most effective I've seen out of a campaign in a while.
Mm-hmm. Mayor Tom Arsenault, of course, he's the incumbent.
Yes.
He's probably got way more money than anybody else, right?
Definitely has a cash advantage, to my understanding. Probably some ungodly numbers that for a mayoral race, I've heard north of $500,000 in the account right now.
Wow. And they don't have to file a financial report. He told us, I don't think until October, right?
30 days before Election Day is the next financial report in this race.
So October 3rd.
About October 3rd, yes.
Wow.
And that's for every financial piece of activity from January 1st through September the 24th.
Goodness.
Yep.
So that's when we'll know. I mean, all the cards will be on the table.
That's when we'll know.
Does John Paul Young have a chance of equaling that financing? I know he may have some family money or whatever.
I haven't heard any rumblings about his financing, but I mean, he's clearly spending money. Billboards are expensive. I think those billboards that he has, each one of them is about $2,500 a month. Mm-hmm. So that's a decent amount of money that's pouring into it. And Tom's running on his record every time he gets out there. He's talking about the decreases that we've seen in crime, the incremental increases that we've seen in our water rating in Shreveport, and it sounds like his messaging is that we can't fix it overnight, but we're on the right path, and let's keep the right path going.
Where is John Paul Young making inroads with regard to chipping away some votes from Arsenault?
So John Paul has really good, and I know y'all can't see my cell phone I'm holding up. John Paul has really good videos that are reaching people on like your TikToks and your Facebook Reels that a lot of campaigns haven't done, and it has people talking. It's getting people attention. So he's reaching a younger demographic than has normally been reached in a race like this.
Well, okay, let's boil it down to after November 3rd. Who are the most likely two contenders that make the runoff, in your view?
Right now, Tom Arsenault and Stormy Gage Watts will be in the top two.
And how close will it be?
I'm not sure. Looking at, I feel like we have two basically mini party primaries in this jungle primary. You have the two Democrat candidates and the two Republican candidates. I don't know how close it'll be. I mean, I remember back to 4 years ago, Mario Chavez finished third, but he was close to Greg Tarver in that race. I mean, you could see a John Paul Young or a Tammy Phelps in third place, right on the edge. I still think that this is anybody's race to make a runoff. It's just, there you have different factors going into that.
And then when we get to the runoff, we all do believe that Arsenault will be there. Does a Stormy Gage Watts have a chance to beat him? I mean, our demographics would say yes, but we'd have to, has he done enough to win support from those who may not be diehard Republicans?
You make a runoff, it's any person's race. And that's a December the 12th runoff, 13 days before Christmas. I've got to imagine that you've got about a 45 to 50% turnout. And in December, you might have a 20 to 30% turnout. So it's who can get their voters motivated and out there.
Wow. Interesting. Matt Kay, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL.